Okay, so picture this. You're finally taking that dream trip to Tuscany, vineyards as far as the eye can see.
Beautiful.
But instead of sipping wine under the Tuscan sun, you're stuck on a bus with like terrible suspension and even worse air conditioning.
Oh no, the nightmare.
Exactly. And all because of a poorly planned itinerary. Well, that's where a skilled travel consultant swoops in, someone who can actually make those travel dreams a reality. You handed us a ton of info on becoming a travel consultant from RoleCatcher, a career development platform.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like someone's ready to trade that bumpy bus ride for a gondola in Venice.
you know me too well.
Well, but seriously, let's dive into what it really takes to be a travel consultant and how to make sure you are the one crafting those dream getaways.
And let's be clear, it's about way more than just knowing, like, the best gelato spot in Rome. Although, I mean, that never hurts.
Never.
But a travel consultant is this unique blend of customer service pro, sales whiz, and of course, that passionate travel enthusiast. They are like the architects of unforgettable experiences. Okay, no pressure then, right? But seriously, what does a day in the life of a travel consultant actually look like?
Think of it as like orchestrating these travel symphonies.
Yeah?
Each note carefully chosen for maximum impact. RoleCatcher says they handle everything from designing personalized itineraries, then completely tailor-made trips, to digging up those hidden gems you won't find in any guidebook.
And probably deciphering the cryptic language of visas and travel insurance, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. That's a big one. They're like walking, talking travel encyclopedias.
Sounds intense. And speaking of intense, the guide did mention this job can be pretty fast-paced and demanding. So what's the work environment really like?
Yeah, it's not all sunshine and airport lounges. The travel industry is super dynamic. Things change in a heartbeat. RoleCatcher highlights that a lot of travel consultants are working in bustling call centers, handling a ton of inquiries, requests, you name it.
Okay, so maybe not the most relaxing 9 to 5, but there is that potential for remote work or like setting your own hours, right? At least you could be answering those calls from, I don't know, a beachside cafe.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher definitely points to that flexibility as a major perk. It's a huge draw, especially for those with a serious case of wanderlust.
Speaking of wanderlust, can we talk about those travel discounts? Imagine exploring the destinations you recommend, like research trips on a budget.
Oh, the discounted travel is definitely a major perk, something to keep in mind when you're comparing potential employers. But even with a discounted ticket, let me tell you, dealing with a delayed flight or lost baggage, it hits different when you're the expert everyone's relying on.
Okay, good point. Not all glamorous Instagram shots and frequent flyer miles, then. There are definitely two sides to every passport stamp. So it's not enough to just like really love travel. You got to have the right stuff too.
Exactly.
So beyond that well-stamped passport, what are some of those like must-have skills that make a travel consultant really excel?
You're right, passion is only the starting point. RoleCatcher really hits this home. They say you need a savvy combo of soft skills and, of course, industry know-how.
Okay, so break it down for us. What were some of those top skills that jumped out from the role catcher guide?
Well, they highlighted active listening, service-oriented mindset. Those are huge. Oh, and sharp critical thinking skills are essential too. And of course, this one's a no-brainer. You got to have solid customer service knowledge.
I mean, those sound pretty valuable in any job, to be honest. But how do they actually play out in the world of travel planning? Give us the real-world scenario.
Okay, picture this. A client comes to you and says, I want a romantic getaway.
Okay, vague. I like it.
Right. But romantic means something totally different to everyone, right? For some people, that's a secluded cabin in the mountains. For others, it's a swanky beachfront resort. Active listening, that's about really tuning in to their, unspoken desires, figuring out what romantic actually means to them.
Oh, I like that. It's like you're a travel therapist almost, helping them unpack their, like, vacation baggage, and figure out those hidden desires.
Yes, you're not just booking a flight. You're curating an experience. And that's where your critical thinking and problem-solving skills really come in. Remember that parking lot view nightmare you mentioned?
No, don't remind me.
Well, a good travel consultant, they're a master problem solver. Flight cancellations, lost luggage, even a client who suddenly decides, actually, I'd rather be in Bali instead of Barcelona. They can handle it.
Oh gosh, I actually had a friend that happened to. They learned that lesson the hard way. They were not working with a travel consultant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of hard lessons, I once missed a connecting flight because my first flight was delayed. That's when I realized geography and transportation knowledge. Super important. It's not just finding the cheapest flight. It's about understanding how it all fits together. Right on. RoleCatcher's big on computer skills, too. I mean, these days, you got to be a whiz with those online booking platforms. And another language, always a plus, especially with international clients.
Okay, so it's like you're packing your ultimate travel toolkit, right? You need the right tools for every situation. We've got our active listening skills sharpened, our problem-solving hats on, and we're fluent in the language of online booking platforms. What's next on the itinerary to becoming a travel consultant? Okay, so we've got our skills all set, our virtual suitcases packed, but RoleCatcher mentions these like AI gatekeepers in the job market. Kind of intimidating. What's the deal with that?
It's true. The job market, even for travel consultants, is a whole new world. Lots of companies are using AI now to filter applications.
So you're saying on top of everything else, now we got to impress robots.
Think of it as having a digital assistant, pre-screening resumes before a human even sees them.
Okay, so how do we get past them? Everyone needs to become a coding whiz just to get an interview these days.
You don't need to be a tech expert, but you got to understand the game.
Yeah.
Luckily, RoleCatcher, they have this tool called, get this, RoleCatcher.capture. Pretty catchy, right? And it helps with exactly that.
Roll catcher. Capture. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this secret weapon.
It's like this. The plugin analyzes job descriptions, pulls out those keywords the AI is looking for. Basically, it's your personal translator to help you write the perfect resume and cover letter for each job.
So instead of sending out like a generic resume to every travel agency on the planet, you tailor it each time. That's got to be a game changer.
Totally. And RoleCatcher breaks down the whole process into 3 steps. Understand, identify, customize.
Okay, I like it. It's systematic.
Right. First, use that RoleCatcher capture tool to really get what the AI wants for that role. Then see if you're missing any skills, maybe need to brush up on some software or, I don't know, add another language to your repertoire.
So it's all about having that perfect travel toolkit, digitally speaking.
Exactly. And finally, customize. Don't just mass send that resume. Take the time to tailor it. Highlight the stuff that matches that specific job.
Makes sense. Like packing for a trip, you wouldn't wear hiking boots to a beach resort. Okay, so you ace the interview, impress the robots, you land the job. Now what? What's the career path look like?
Oh, it's as diverse as the destinations you'll be sending people to. You might start as an entry-level travel consultant, learning the ropes, those booking systems. Then, as you get more experience, build your own clients, you can become a senior consultant.
More responsibility? Maybe leading a team of travel enthusiasts?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe you even specialize, adventure travel, ecotourism, even luxury honeymoons. RoleCatcher mentioned roles like travel manager, director, overseeing whole departments, even starting your own agency.
So many options. But with all this AI online booking taking over, are travel consultants like becoming obsolete?
That's the million-dollar question. Technology has definitely changed the game. But RoleCatcher, they actually say human expertise is more important because of it.
So even with all the apps, websites, people still want that human touch.
Absolutely. When you're planning that once-in-a-lifetime trip, you don't just want efficiency. You want expertise, genuine care, someone who gets it, understands different cultures, knows the best hidden spots. That's where the human touch comes in.
It's like that saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, we've explored the ins and outs of becoming a travel consultant thanks to the insights from RoleCatcher. Definitely encourage you to check out their website. They have a ton of resources, free and paid. Here's a final thought as you start your journey. In this digital world, how can you use your human skills, that empathy, your passion, to create those personalized experiences and truly thrive? Keep that in mind, and until next time, happy exploring.